Let's break down the closed stance and open stance forehand so you know exactly where to use them in the court when you're playing on the baseline. Now, there's a lot of confusion out there because traditional coaches are going to have you stepping in on every forehand. Doesn't matter where you are in the court, they're going to want you stepping in. And then the modern coach, the quote-unquote modern coach, is going to have you set up with an open stance forehand on almost all forehands that you're hitting. And I just don't agree with this philosophy. I think forehands are situational depending on where you are in the court, and you want to have a mix of both. You want to hit the closed stance and you want to hit the open stance. Now you'll notice that I put 2 lines down on the court because I wanted to divide the court and make it as simple as possible so you know the zones on when to use the open stance and when to use the closed stance. Let's first start with the closed stance, or what I would call stepping into the forehand. Now when the ball comes in the middle of the court and it's in your strike zone, I want you to step into the forehand. It comes to you and you're on your front foot. I'll do that again. It comes to you and you're on your front foot. You don't want to come up to this ball and be open stance. Now the one exception to this that I want to point out is if the ball comes really high and it's probably in this area right here, now you can load up and go from your back foot or your outside foot to the front foot. So let me show you that real quickly here. So I might go like that on the forehand when it's up high, but your general forehand when the ball stays lower or it's in your strike zone in the middle of the court is I want you stepping in with a closed stance. Now remember, closed stance doesn't mean stepping across like this. That's a no-no. We want to put a big X over that one. Stepping in means stepping towards the target in this fashion like this. Now, what happens when the ball comes a few feet away from the middle of the court right here? Right up to about this line right here, I still want you to step in. Remember, come over to the ball and step in like this. Now the difference is now you've got to square up at the end so that you'll be facing the net. You don't want to move across the court, step in, and then hold it like you might when the ball's in the exact middle of the court when you finish like this. So when the ball comes towards this line, get out here, step in, and then bring this leg around and get in a wide base. But the cool thing there is you are getting into that closed stance, stepping into the ball. Why do I like this for all of you players out there? Because it makes you aggressive with your footwork. Anyone can run over and just go like this and lift up their leg and hit off their back foot. But I want the player to be very diligent and aggressive with their footwork. Get over there, step in, and swing this leg around. And that's going to give you more force behind your shot. It's going to help you penetrate the court. Let me show you this again right now. I like that much more than hitting with the open stance because I remember playing matches on the Pro Tour where I got nervous and I noticed a lot of forehands like this. But whenever I focused on getting on my front foot as much as possible, it made all the difference in the world. Now, the open stance forehand. You should use the open stance when the ball gets outside this blue line here and towards the single sideline. That's where you want to use the open stance footwork pattern. So when you come out of your split, you should be able to make a big crossover step, load this leg here. Now you're outside that line we talked about, and you're going to hit the forehand and shuffle across like this. That's the magic of the open stance. So really, you're only going to use your open stance forehand when the ball is in this third of the court towards the single sideline. The other time, as I mentioned, is when the ball's in the middle and it's high and you want to load this leg and you'll be on your outside foot and you'll be hitting off of that outside foot transferring to the front foot. So let me give you the open stance right now. So you'll notice that I didn't take 4 steps to get out there. I didn't take a bunch of choppy steps like this. I took one big stride and I loaded up the outside leg. One big stride, loaded up the outside leg. That's the only time you really need to use that open stance as a rec player or as a junior player. Sometimes you might find yourself on your front foot out this wide. If you're in this position, just make sure you jump around and square up like this. So that's your breakdown on the open stance and closed stance forehands. Use the closed stance when the ball is in the middle in your strike zone. You can open up your stance in the middle when the ball gets up high. Use the closed stance when the ball is a few feet away from the center of the court, but make sure you square up at the end. And finally, use the open stance when the ball is out towards the single sideline, because that will not only help you hit a better forehand and help you with your balance, it will also help you recover back towards the middle of the court.